All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Wing Chun Monday. It is the 6th of April, 2020. And so let's start our class. And again, if you haven't participated in a class or you haven't watched any of the recordings, I do a bow in. It's honestly, it's kind of based on the way that they would bow in for all their classes at OC Kickboxing in Irvine, California. And then I made a couple of modifications, but doesn't matter which art we're studying. Like right now we're studying Chinese. We do the bow in to acknowledge, everybody who's influenced us for all the classes. I just think it's really respectful. So abbreviated Chinese is here. Abbreviated Filipino is here. Thai is the super easy one, is right here. Your left hand makes a table for your right hand is Indonesian. Right hand taps your chest and goes to the side for Savat and Dog Brothers. And then Japanese, we just keep our eyes up. So I want to continue, and sorry everybody, we got a working household here, and we're recording in Family Martial Arts Academy living room edition. Okay, so we're gonna make sure structurally, guys. I'm recording. Okay, sorry everybody. We're gonna make sure that we are warming up with some Wing Chun basics, and so I want to start with Yichi Kyoyama, and feet are going to be together. This very much mirrors the beginning of the first form where we bend our knees a little bit, toes open and heels open. And where you want to really be for this, you want to measure 2 fists between your knees, and if that's what you have, then you're good. And I'm recording this on my laptop, so I'll occasionally go back and forth to kind of change the angle so that everybody can see. Okay, so you're going to get into that. Make sure, test it, hands between your knees like I showed you, and if it's 2 fists apart, then you're good to go. So hands up, and we're going to have our left hand in front of our right hand, and what we want to work on is beats of 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, what I was just explaining off camera before we started, and you really need to understand this. Think about Wing Chun as a great refinement tool for any martial arts that you already know. So if you already know Western boxing or Thai boxing or grappling, all of that is good. Filipino martial arts, whatever it is, Shotokan karate, it's all good. What we're going to use Wing Chun for is attribute refinement and reflex speed, and we're going to build in some just incredible structural awareness to your martial arts DNA. And depending on your background, in the very beginning, this might all seem, I'll just use the B word, boring as all get out, because I'm asking you to do less than you might be used to doing. So even if you're used to, like I have these off camera here, you're used to hitting focus mitts in some kind of Western boxing structure, whether that's boxing or Thai boxing or Savat, or anything else, that's good. That's awesome that you know how to do that. What I want you to do when you train Wing Chun with me is I want you to pull that back, have confidence that I train in an art where I already know how to destroy the focus mitts, okay? That's great. But when you work on things with me, I want you to kind of put that in the attic, if you will, and really focus on the structure. So here, when we get into that posture, the hardest part for people, they want to rotate. And like I just got done saying, in the context of hitting focus mitts in another martial art, that's awesome. That's how you generate your power. For right now, because we're refining things, my shoulders do not move. And all I'm interested in is developing this form. And my form, let me be right here in the center. My form is about, if you and I were standing, you know, full front to full front, and I was going to blast you right down center line, right on your sternum, this is what I want to develop. And for right now, and even in this class, we're going to go beyond this structure, this very traditional Wing Chun structure. We're going to go beyond that. But for right now, train, you know, do what we're doing right now. Right now, we're doing traditional Wing Chun. That's what we're training right now. And I've already gone out of my way to say, if you're used to rotating and generating power, well, that's good and that's fantastic. That's just not what we're doing right now. What we're doing right now is we're trying 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, so that I can make that one count. 1, 2, 3, and that's what we really want to develop. So to warm up, one more time, now that you have all that explanation, get in your stance, test, make sure you're 2 fists apart by, you know, your knees. Come up here, left hand in front, right hand in the back, and we're going to do 10 chain punches of 3 together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right? And it's fist over fist, hitting the same point in the air. Somebody who's been training online with me was asking, you know, what knuckles am I hitting with? I mean, predominantly you're thinking here, but frankly, right now, just think about blasting right down center line with this vertical punch and have that guide your visualization rather than being super like, you know, where are my knuckles and where do they point? Even though that's a good question. That's a good question for later. Right now, I know this is a dirty word in some martial arts circles. This is your kata. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we want to have that. We want to have that in place. So that's the first drill, is just to be able to do that really clean, straight blast, jik chun choi, battle punches. These are all synonyms that I've heard for that idea. Okay, and once we have that, where we're going to go next is if we do one set, and I'll standardize this for you. So everybody go left hand, right hand, left hand. So your left hand finishes out. Open your fingers, turn slightly to your left. Now right, left, right, open, center, left, right, open, to your right, right, left, open, center, left, right, open. And then, so we're always going left, center, right, center, left, and that's the whole flow. If you have somebody that could hold focus mitts for you, you could have them rotate with you. But frankly, getting this structure down on your own is going to be really beneficial. Okay, so just maybe being able on your own, if you want to, if you're watching this and maybe you're watching the recording of this before next week's class, just make sure you have them stationary, really nice form, hitting the same point in space, right down center line, then open to your right, back to center, to your left, back to center, to your right, and be able to do that. And those are those are really good drills, solo drills by yourself to get started in your Wing Chun journey, okay? And so this class, this is the third class. I've been doing weekly classes for, this is the third week now, obviously. We're gonna start solo, and then I'm gonna bring my wife in. We're gonna show some drills. If you do have a training partner that you can work, I'll show you how to approach them solo, and then if you do have somebody available to you, how you could drill them with another person, okay? So last class we started on Selam Tao, the first form. It means a little imagination. There is no footwork in Selam Tao except for getting in Yiji Koyama, which is the first thing that I showed you in this class. So I'm going to go over the form for you and review it. There are 3 sessions to it, plus the opening. Session 1 is going to be channeling your internal energy. And, you know, in this day and age, I mean, 2020, everybody's got different perspectives about the validity and the usefulness of martial arts. The visualization that I'm going to give you, even if you, let's say you are a skeptical inquirer, empiricist type, I'm still just going to give you a visualization that if you did nothing more than the visualization for however many years of doing the form, it would benefit you. And, you know, I'll say that. I mean, my Wing Chun instructor, my main Wing Chun instructor is Sifu Francis Fong out of Johns Creek, Georgia. And I started with Sifu about a year into my Jeet Kune Do, Filipino martial arts, Wing Chun, all of the arts associated with Guru Dan Inosanto. So I was already training with high-level people, and I was already training Wing Chun and Wing Chun with a multitude of instructors. Sifu just sort of brought things alive in a way that I hadn't seen it before. And I thought it was really unique. And, you know, I've been with him for about 15 years now. And I am very much guided in all things philosophically by Guru Inosanto. I really do think that most people and most arts have something to offer. And as long as you're approaching your training realistically, nothing is lost by exploring those things. So I can't, you know, I highly recommend Sifu. If you know Sifu, he does amazing things. And, you know, I'll share this super briefly. I have, in my background, I have one parent who is kind of a ex-hippie type, new agey, very open to a multitude of things. And then I have another parent that is skeptical inquirer, you know, atheist, empiricist type of perspective. So I have both. Like, that is my background. And if those are the extreme poles, well, I've seen Sifu do things, and he's done things on me, physically on me, that even having both of those perspectives in my background, I don't really have an explanation for. Now, that being said, he's not selling anything. So there is no special, you know, secret chi weekend for $20,000. There's no charlatanism. There's no victim. It doesn't require you to believe in anything. So that's what I'm going to say before we start the form. Just like shadow boxing or Carenza and Filipino martial arts, or work, you know, any training modality where you are by yourself, forms training, yeah, I'm going to say that dirty 4-letter word, kata. And I know that's a Japanese term, but you know, forms, kata, you know what I'm saying. Form is still a 4-letter word. You're talking about certain attributes that you're developing. You're talking about a traditional methodology of training that was handed down through millennia sometimes, or centuries, definitely, depending on different martial arts. And all, well, the vast majority of different martial arts systems have some kind of solo training modality, you know, and then those people that are really anti-forms, well, your forms aren't going to make you a better fighter. Well, nobody said they would. Your bag work, frankly, in the striking arts without other components to your practice really won't make you a better fighter. It'll develop some things, okay? And I would kind of link those. Okay, so anyways, the opening, hands rise up, they come to your sides. We're gonna do that same getting into posture that we did earlier. Left hand's gonna cross on top of the right, hands come up, so the right hand is in front of the left, and your hands return to the original position. I am not touching my ribs here. You make yourself structurally weak. If you do, I have a little bit of space in between my hands and my ribs. My left hand loads to center line, and I start with my knuckles pointed down until I execute this punch. Tan Sao, Kun Sao, Sao Kun. As that comes in, this hand, my right hand moves into position, knuckles still down, and I execute the same movement. As this right hand comes back, my left Tan Sao comes out, I Hun, and I'm gonna alternate Fuk Sao to Wu Sao. Usually we do 3. I might, in that case, I did 4. If I let my mind wander, Pak Sao, Jik Jern, Tan, Hun, Sao Kun. Okay? My right hand's gonna repeat that. 1, 2, 3, and that's session number 1. Okay, so let's look at that whole thing again. All right, hands rise up. I bend my knee. Here, let me come down a little bit. There we go. Okay, so, and the only reason I have 2 mats put together here on the floor, they are stuck together, but I just don't want to end up in the crease here. Okay, get into posture. Left hand's on top, right hand's in front. Left hand loads, knuckles down to start. Execute, Tan, Hun. Right hand loads up, executes. Left Tan comes out. Hun Sao once, Fuk Sao, Wu Sao. I might, again, usually 3 or 4 times. I'm going a little faster than we would traditionally do this section. And my right hand repeats that. Now, the visualization, I want to imagine a ball of energy in my navel. The ball of energy has a single, you could call it like a line of string connected to my hand. It is that line of string or that energy that pulls my hand in and pushes my hand out. Okay, so that's the only visualization that you need to do. 3 or 4 of those. Pak Sao, Jik Jern, Tan, Hun, and return. Okay, so that's session 1 of Sealam Tao. We're going to do that one more time, and then we're going to get into some exercises here because the time is going by very quickly. So hands rise up, they come back, don't touch your ribs, bend at the knees, open your toes, open your heels. Left hand's on top, right hand's in front, return. Left hand loads up, knuckles down, execute. Right hand loads up as the left hand comes back, execute. As that comes back, my left Tan Sao comes out. Hun once, and I can just go to Fuk, Wu Sao, Fuk Sao, Wu Sao, Fuk Sao, Wu Sao. 3 or 4 of those. Pak, Jik Jern, Tan, finished. And I repeat that on my right side. Okay, so that's session 1. Last class we got to session 2, and you can watch that. All of these classes get uploaded to my YouTube channel. So at the risk of being a cliche, please, spread the love, give me some watches and some likes, and be sure to share and subscribe to the channel. That way you get updates when these get uploaded. Okay. I'm going to bring in my wife, Simo Jean. She's going to help me out. And so to start with the drills, she's just working on giving me this feed, okay? And she does have a martial arts background, but it's judo. So this is kind of her introduction to this motion. So she's being very nice and helping me out with these exercises. Now, before we even get there, we're gonna start with solo training. Just relax for 1 second, then I'll need you. Okay, so solo training, get into your stance. The first one is going to be Jutsao. Okay, Jutsao just means jerking hand. And we really just want to focus on that sinking energy and that sinking energy's connection to your elbow. So everybody, if you're watching this, do this in the air, just this. And I'm still, just like when we were training this, I'm not using any rotation. I'm not, any body mechanics. I'm just full front and doing my juts out, okay? Now, when a partner comes in, your partner is just gonna give you this straight blast feed, nice and slow. There's nothing combative about this right now. It's attribute refinement and even a little slower. Good, okay? And so both people are training, freeze, that's great. Every beat, she is training a perfect vertical punch with which she's trying to dominate center line. I'm training shutting that down with my Jutsao. Wing Chun is all about dominating center line, the imaginary line that bisects us vertically. So we're both training. Neither of us are training at the expense of the other. Hold that for 1 second. She's working on her what we started working on together solo, her battle punches or her Jik Chun Choi or her straight blast, dominating center line with that. I'm working on my first counter. My first counter is the Jutsao. Okay, good. Time. Okay, very nice. All right, I'll call you back again. Thank you so much. Okay, this is the first time in these classes that Simo Jean's helped me, and we have a very silly sense of humor, so we might start each other laughing because church giggles are one of the things in life that I'm the worst at. So that's your Jutsao, okay? For all of these, I'm gonna go over how you can work it by yourself, and I would encourage you, work on your stance, get in that stance, measure, make sure your knees are at the appropriate distance, work it. Tycho, I'm sorry, everybody. Tycho, can you take that in your room, please? Okay, so everybody you're getting this form, okay? So before we even engage another individual, if you have somebody available to you, if you really think about it, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing with forms training. We're working solo to try to develop the proper attributes and the proper positioning on our own before we involve another individual. So that was Jutsao. So now Tansao. So Tansao, one of the three major hands of Wing Chun, means showing hand. And when you do a Tansao, like all of these, and I sort of alluded to this with Jutsao, don't think about your hand. And I know that's kind of counterintuitive. Like, aren't all of these things named Sao, showing hand, slapping hand, pulling hand, or grabbing hand, jerking hand? Yes, they are. That's what it roughly kind of translates to. But with all of these, focus on your elbow. Make sure you're doing the proper position with your hand based on whatever we're working on, but focus on your elbow. It's your elbow's connectivity to your body. Just kind of like, you know, if you're really good at Western style punches, you know that just sticking your arm out there isn't going to do it. You know, it's the body mechanics behind those punches that generate power. Well, here, an informed Wing Chun practitioner knows, yes, I've got to make the proper shape with my hand, but it's really about my elbow connectivity to my body. Now, when we Tan Sao, you do the kind of the hang loose, you put your thumb on your navel, and you put your pinky on your elbow. And if that's in line, that's where you're supposed to be. The most awkward part of Tan Sao is you can't be here. You've got to try to get this elbow on both sides as much as possible to center line. So that's the Tan Sao. So before you involve, you know, work the whole thing, get in the proper position. Okay, I measured it, it looks pretty good. So here's where you'd want to be. Notice I'm not sacrificing my structure, my full front structure, to turn. All right, and the only tension, I will speak to your hands for just a second here, the only tension is going to be in your thumbs. Your forefingers are supposed to be relaxed. Now let me say, I've said this on other classes, but I'll just say it. I have this sort of strange genetic thing. My mother has the same thing, where when our pinkies are at rest, sometimes they're curled, okay? And I don't want you to think, if you see that, I don't want you to think I'm being a hypocrite. Didn't he say no tension in his thumb, in the forefingers, only tension in the thumb? My forefingers, believe it or not, even though this is all curled right now, these forefingers are completely relaxed. Okay, so I have this kind of weird genetic thing with my pinkies. But if I hold, you know, like I must keep my fingers straight type of thing, then I'm putting tension into these fingers, and that's not where it's at. So it's better to just relax it and focus on, again, always the elbow, but the tension in the thumb. So once you have that on your own, bring in a partner. Okay, and again, Sino Jean's working on her nice, super slow battle punches with good form, okay? So what I'm looking to do is cut on the inside with my Tan Sao. Freeze. We're both, that's perfect. We're, once again, just like the Jut Sao, we're both training something very specific. She's training the battle punches. She's training what we were training in the beginning of the class. Perfect form, center line domination coming right down the center. Switch hands, freeze. And I'm training cutting that energy with my Tan Sao. If I wanted to ask a trick question, I would ask, in this arrangement, who's training? And usually if you fell for it, you would say that I'm the one training. We're both training. Continue. So we're both getting to work. Freeze. Whatever it is we're working on. She's working on her feed. I'm working on my Tan Sao. Okay, so that's the next one. Thank you. Okay. So we have Jut Sao, we have Tan Sao. We're going to go to Jop Sao. Okay, so Jop Sao is kind of this shopping energy. Okay, now I'm sure Wing Chun instructors out there and you know, whomever you train under, I'm sure if you have considerable Wing Chun experience, you know, I'm sure you've gotten your arms kind of banged up. It's just kind of par for the course. Here, I'm going to ask you not to be that person who like abuses their partner. But let's stick to what we've been doing and let's work everything solo, right? So by yourself, your Jop Sao is just here. Don't think so much, again, don't think so much about your hand. We want to think about our elbows. This is where we want to be. Elbows are the focus. Keeping everything in line here, keeping everything straight. Okay, so when we involve a partner, it's going to be the same thing. She's going to work on her Jik Chun Choi. I'm just going to cut with my Jop Sao, but I'm not going to like abuse my partner. This is a really easy one to hurt each other. And then, you know, when it would be the other person's turn, if we were in a traditional, a little slower, traditional class, usually then the other person time. Like when it's her turn to start the Jop Sao, usually she's mad at that point and she starts cutting my arms really, really hard. So with that one again, we're both, I'm sorry, can I borrow it again? So we're both training. It's the same freeze. It's the same relationship with the Jut Sao, with the Ton Sao. I'm holding right on center line. This intersection of my Jop Sao to her Chung Choi is right on center line. She's training the same thing that she's been training, switch hands, okay? So again, the trick question might be freeze. Who's training? And somebody might respond, you know, that if they fell for it, you know, that I'm the one that's training. We're both training. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have Jut Sao, we have Ton Sao, and right there we had Jop Sao. Okay, and we've run all three of those without sacrificing this full front energy. Okay, and next, when I bring Simo Jean in next, I'm going to show you, if you do have a partner, I'm going to show you a really good drill that will keep you honest, a really good training modality, if you will, that will make sure that you are doing this properly. So next one is going to be my Hun Sao. Now, it's circling hand. Now, the biggest mistake that people make here is they flare their elbows, and we don't want to do that. We want to keep and hold and dominate center line. So circling hand, that's your Hun Sao. And this is going to have, if we really think about it, a slight Jop Sao energy as it enters, because you have to cut that punch before you scoop it, but we're not going to, you know, we're not going to try to hurt our partner, okay? But you can't just go straight for the Hun Sao. You'll see what I mean. You have to intercept with Jop Sao kind of energy, okay? And again, this is just cut, freeze, and Hun. Cut and Hun. Cut and Hun. Again, this is refinement for any other structure and reflex development and any other arts type that you might know. Just this refinement. This particular modality, where we are going to have time for some trapping in a lead in just a few moments. Okay, so remember, this is hyper extreme training to make our structure and our attributes super refined in this modality that we're in right now. Okay, and then the Pak Sao. So the Pak Sao might look a little anticlimactic at this point. It just means slapping hand. So I'm just putting a lid on it. I want to work that by myself in the air before I involve a partner. Now, the modality that I was going to show you, you know, I have these soft sticks out from the kids' class. The modality that works really well, stay there, and you know, we're both of us have shorter appendages. We're kind of shorter people. I wouldn't actually be able to do your thing. I don't know that I'd be able to do the drill from here, but if you do have longer arms, this is a really good way to train it, because the moment that I rotate, because I'm not supposed to do that in this context, the stick is going to drop. So if you have something shorter, that's a really good way to know if you're doing it. But you know, when we're really here, freeze. Here's my Pak Sao. I'm on center line. She's still training. She's trying to cut that line with her punch. Okay, so stay here for now. So we went Jutsao. Remember, Jutsao was here. Jutsao was here. Let's review them all. Slow. Jutsao was here. Okay. Then Tansao. My Tansao was here. Jopsao. My Jopsao was here. Hun, right, with a little kind of Jopsao prefix. And then Paksao. The last one that we were working on. Okay, so stay here, please. As I started showing you, work on those, because again, everybody's stuck at home right now. I don't know what your situation is. I don't know if you have somebody to train with or train on. If you don't, you can still work on this material, because on everything that I show you, I'm going to give you some solo stuff, and then I'm going to give you some stuff where you could use a partner. Okay, so let's get into trapping now. That was the drilling section, and once again, I'm taking the curriculum, the Wing Chun curriculum of Sifu Francis Fong, who's my main Wing Chun instructor. So now you're going to put your right side in front. We're going to be in this high reference point. This is a training posture only, and we're going to really talk about why that is during the JKD section. Okay. So my first order of business here is Paksao Sutsao, okay? Or for right now, I promise I'm not going to hit you, don't engage that rear hand. Left hand slaps the line open, and I take a knife hand with my right hand, okay? Sorry. So non-telegraphic. Non-telegraphic means there's no energy here. If I take my hand away, she doesn't move. If she takes her hand away, I don't move. It's neutral energy, okay? Because the moment I tense, or I signal my intent, it's bad. She gets free information. So I'm completely relaxed. My left hand is up. It is not going to telegraph. It's here, and I'm just going to slap the line open. And for right now, we're going to go with the Sutsao, all right? And if you have a Jeet Kune Do background, you're probably used to the Gua Choi. The Gua Choi actually doesn't exist in Wing Chun. It's not in any of the forms. It's something that Bruce Lee kind of modified. So since we're in Wing Chun right now, let's stick with Wing Chun. And in my lineage of Wing Chun, we really like that Sutsao, because that knife hand. You have all this natural padding on this side of your hand. Take your hand away. If I score, right, as opposed to my knuckles, and if she moves her head back as I do that motion, by using the Sutsao, I still might get lucky and maybe score in the eyes, okay? So the first drill is just this slap and hit, and then she might try it as well. Slap my arm down with your other hand and hit with that. There you go, that's it. That's the idea. So that's simple. This high reference point, I'm really learning a lot from here. If she, make a fist, if she was a southpaw, this would be the line that she, a little more here, would be occupying. This would probably, something like this, this would probably be her lead. If she was a southpaw, extend that. That would be the line from which her jab would originate. So go back, relax your hand. I'm also learning the line that I need to open if I want to be able to come in and hit the right side of her face. Let's change sides and put you here. Okay, so we're still in the right lead. You're still in the right lead. My hand's here. So the very first variation is Pak Satda. Okay, so if you have a partner, maybe have the person who has a better grasp of it go first, then the other person gets a rep. Good. And right now, we're just going back and forth. Replace the reference point. We're not going super hard. We're not going super fast. And then the only other thing, turn this over and imagine hitting me like that. But that looks great. Slap and hit. Nice. Okay. There we go. Good. And I was just sort of writing about this idea online earlier today. Sometimes I will give you the Cantonese terms, and sometimes I'll say it in English. And then sometimes maybe neither of those work for you, and you want to invent your own terminology if that helps you learn it. Sounds great to me. I only teach the terminology not to show off, but because that's kind of the culture of the lineage that I belong to. In English, this is just slap and hit with a knife hand. That's what Pak Sut Da means, slap and hit with a knife hand. So let's look at two variations, and then I need to go into the Jeet Kune Do portion because I like to try to stay on schedule. So you're going to start with number one. She's going to parry with her rear hand. You're going to insert the Busao, and then you're going to pull and hit. So let me say that in English, okay? Slap and hit with the knife hand. They're going to cross center line in the interest of preserving their face. They don't want to get hit. They're going to bring that rear barrier. My left hand is just going to insert as my right hand comes back, and then my left hand is going to pull, and my right hand is going to score. So I'm going 1, 2, 3. Okay, slap and hit with the knife hand, insert, and then pull and hit. Let's change sides again. So start with the first motion. She crosses center line, so I insert, then I'm going to pull and hit. Or based on your background, the way that I taught it for many years, everything's the same, but I'm just going to insert this tan sao since we were working on that earlier. So she crosses center line, I insert, and I pull and hit. All right? Pak Sut Da, tan, Lap Chung Choi Da. Slap and hit with a knife hand, showing hand, pull and hit. So this is where I want to be. Okay? As I like to say, Wing Chun is an art of you're darned if you do, you're darned if you don't. If she doesn't do anything, I want to hit the side of her face. If she parries, well, I'm going to reopen the line and I'm going to hit her in the face. Okay? Then the only other combination to play with, this starts the same, but then I'm going to slap and hit with a knife hand on the other side. So I start with slap and hit with the knife hand. I'm going for the right side of her face. I insert this left tan sao and I score on the other side. Then what I can play with is she gives me the left reference point. I start, she parries with a right hand. I insert and I go, that's perfect, to the other side. And I can make a drill out of this and start playing with changing sides, okay? And so we want to keep that nice and clean. That way your partner can pick it up. Good, and that way you're trapping against the proper barrier. Thank you. Okay, so we did a lot today. We looked at the classical or the traditional in Sifu Fong's curriculum, what we call the drills. Anything that we do in this traditional stance with the full front type of energy would be the drills, and then anything we do in a modified reference point would be the trapping. And what I'm really trying to do with these classes is give you an overview of the first couple levels of the Wing Chun curriculum, also give you an overview of the forms, and you know, there you go. So I'm a few minutes over here. At the risk of being a cliche, you know, I do have a YouTube channel. All of our class videos get uploaded to YouTube, and I'll be uploading tonight's as soon as possible after class. So please do, you know, make sure that you have liked and subscribed. You know, give me some watches, please, and share those videos, and then please subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, this is going to end our Wing Chun section, and we're going to start the JKD. So we're going to bow the class out. What I was saying at the very beginning is no matter what art we're training, our salutations acknowledge the martial arts from all over the world that have influenced us. So we start Chinese, left hand goes over the right hand. This is abbreviated Chinese. Filipino, right hand fist goes up to your forehead. Left hand heart is here. Thai is the super easy one. Left hand makes a table for the right hand. This is abbreviated Indonesian. Drop your left hand, tap your chest with your right hand. go palm down to your side. That's for French Savate and Dog Brothers martial arts. And then Japanese, we just give a little bow like that. So thank you so much for joining me for the Wing Chun class. I'm going to stop this recording now. So thanks again for joining me.